The Green Party's candidate for mayor was the first of the major parties to reveal her manifesto for the capital should she win. As expected, the environment features heavily, as well as pledges to help London families with the cost of living crisis. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has more on the election race.
Welcome our candidate, the Green Party candidate for Mayor of London, Zoe Garbett.
In the race for City Hall, the Green Party's candidate has taken the lead, at least when it comes to publishing a manifesto. Zoe Garbett unveiled her campaign promises in a park in Walthamstow. More parks are part of her plan.
Greens believe in a different London than the London we have today. We believe in a London that's not for rogue landlords, bankers or corporate CEOs, but for its people, for us.
Garbett's chances of being London's next mayor are slim. The Greens have never come close to winning. Some of the ambitions in the Green Manifesto are beyond the mayor's powers, like banning private jets from London's airports. But there are also more modest proposals, like putting bee-friendly flower pots on top of bus shelters. The Greens would also extend free meals to all secondary school children, offer free bus travel and bike hire to asylum seekers and Londoners under 22, and repurpose the controversial Silvertown Tunnel for pedestrians and cyclists.
We'd repurpose it for walking and cycling, and one tunnel is what we thought about, and maybe the DLR or some public transport in the other tunnel, but just making sure that it's a river crossing for people, not for private vehicles.
Nice idea, says the Lib Dems candidate, but who's going to pay for the tunnel if it's not drivers being charged a toll?
It's a motorway under the Thames being built by Sadiq Khan, so we've always said it was a bad idea to build it. The problem we have now is it's cost £2 billion and we've got to pay that back. If we don't find a way to pay it back, then people are going to be paying that on their tube fares and bus fares, which we really can't have.
My name's Susan Hall. I'm standing for the Mayor of London.
The Tory candidate believes Sadiq Khan's Achilles heel is crime. She was campaigning in Shepherd's Bush Market today.
Obviously you need more police on the street, like coppers on the beat.
But Labour has cried foul after Hall posted on social media a picture of a sign alerting drivers to a pay-per-mile zone. No such zone or sign exists. Do you accept those social media posts might be misleading?
No, if you read them properly, they're not misleading at all. They say, do you want pay per mile? Well, I would suggest most people don't want pay per mile. They don't want the ULEZ expansion either, and I will get rid of that on day one.
Telling lies during election campaigns to scare people is a very low tactic, and people should just ignore it. Sadiq has made it absolutely crystal clear on numerous occasions, including in direct questioning from her, that he is not going to introduce pay per mile.
Polling day is less than 4 weeks away. The Conservatives, Labour and Lib Dems have yet to publish their manifestos. Simon Harris, ITV News, Shepherd's Bush.
And here is a list of the candidates standing to be Mayor of London on your screens now. The election takes place on Thursday, May the 2nd.
Good evening. The Met has referred itself to the police watchdog after taking hours to respond to calls which raised concerns for the welfare of a woman who was found dead in a house in Bayswater yesterday morning. She had a number of stab wounds and a murder investigation has begun. The police have tried to reassure local people that they are working hard to find the attacker, and they've asked neighbours to check their doorbell cameras for any footage which might help them. They say they were first told the woman was missing on Sunday night. Simon Harris has the latest.
More than 24 hours after the body of a murdered woman was found, the search for clues continued. A forensic science team spent much of the day inside the multi-million-pound Bayswater townhouse as serious questions emerged about the speed of the police response. The front door bore the signs of forced entry. Police broke into the house yesterday after friends of the victim said they were worried about her. A woman living a few doors away, who asked not to be named, told me she recalled hearing 2 high-pitched screams on Sunday. The house was recently up for sale with an asking price believed to be around £5 million. These pictures are from an estate agent's website. However, it seems no buyer was found. According to neighbours, the house has since been rented out on a series of short-term lettings. People living in Stanhope Place became aware of police activity yesterday, but only learned the grim truth today.
The first thing we knew about it is when the police came knocking on our doors in the early morning, asking us if we heard any disturbances or if we saw anything. And we haven't seen anything, and we're not too sure what's taken place. And obviously we need the police to reassure us that we're all safe. I mean, what we've learnt now from the media is that someone's been stabbed inside the house. Now, there could be a knifeman on the loose, we don't know.
It is a bit shocking, and I just want to know what happened, really. I don't know, because those guys had a relationship or it's a random murder, which would be very, very concerning.
Tonight, Scotland Yard said it was contacted twice on Sunday by someone raising concerns for the welfare of the woman. The first 999 call was at 7:05. The second at 9:34 p.m, 2.5 hours later. Police treated the calls as medium risk until the victim's body was found. In a statement, Detective Chief Inspector Adam Clifton said of the stabbing, "I understand this news will be concerning and that local women especially may be worried." He said detectives were keeping an open mind about the motive for the murder and working around the clock to try to find the killer. Stanhope Place is off the busy Bayswater Road and close to Hyde Park. Police are asking drivers to check dash cam footage in the hope something captured on camera will help solve the mystery of a woman stabbed to death in an affluent part of the West End.
And Simon's still at the scene tonight. Simon, some serious questions for the Met then.
Yes, Geraint, and they might explain why we've not heard in person from any of the detectives involved in the murder hunt today. Earlier this afternoon, the Independent Office for Police Conduct confirmed that the Met had referred itself to the police watchdog, and you only have to look at the timings to see why. That first call from the concerned friend was at around 7 o'clock on Sunday evening, but it wasn't until 8:30 on Monday morning that police finally came to Stanhope Place and broke down the front door. That's a gap of 13 hours, 11 hours between the second call and the police arriving. And as we know, by the time the police got here, it was too late. Well, tonight the organisation Reclaim These Streets, which campaigns for women's safety and came to prominence after the murder of Sarah Everard, issued a statement saying police don't treat violence against women and girls as seriously as they should. And of course, we still don't know anything more about the victim, who she was or how old she was. The police said earlier they are working to try to trace her family.
OK, Simon Harris, many thanks.
Now, voters will have plenty to think about when the polls open for the mayoral elections in a few weeks' time, not least who they trust to tackle London's crime rate. An exclusive poll for ITV News London showed nearly a quarter of people felt unsafe in the capital, and high-profile cases, such as the murder of Sarah Everard and Sabina Nessa, have highlighted the problem of women's safety. So how will the candidates tackle the issue? Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
You wanted.
When Marcelino Gonçalves was arrested in September, it was the start of a 6-month criminal process which would see him convicted of rape, assault and coercive behaviour.
I swear!
Scotland Yard released this video today to highlight a new computer programme designed to identify men like Gonçalves who pose the greatest risk to women and girls. It's led to 60 arrests and 24 convictions, but the Met is unable to say how many hate crimes against women are committed every year.
Currently, the Metropolitan Police aren't recording if violence is motivated by a crime against women, and we know that that violence is motivated by people's hatred and derogatory view of women. So if we're not even recording it, we don't even know the scale of how it's happening, and it shows that we're not taking it seriously.
It's 3 years since Sarah Everard was kidnapped in Clapham and murdered by a serving police officer. The vigils and demonstrations which followed shone a spotlight on the fears felt by many women in London, and still felt today.
If I'm on a quiet road, walking to my car, I look behind me. I take precautions, yeah.
I do feel very conscious and anxious of people around me.
More needs to be done to help women feel safe.
More lighting at night, I think, would be really good. More cameras, maybe self-defence taught in schools, and maybe men just sort it out and stop attacking women.
In Eltham, the Conservative candidate for mayor went to the site of a former police station to promise 2 new police offices in every borough.
I think it's about time we got a woman in charge of looking after women's safety. The last 8 years have been a disaster under Sadiq Khan.
But what are you going to do to make women feel safer?
Right, the first thing I'm going to do is to appoint a women's commissioner whose sole job will be to make women feel safer and actually make women be safer.
We haven't seen Sadiq Khan since last Thursday, although social media pictures show him campaigning, just not in front of our cameras. Labour says his violence against women and girls strategy is working.
It is difficult as a woman in London, but I know that the Mayor has put in place additional police resources. He's committed to 1,300 extra police officers if he is re-elected. And already in the neighbourhoods that I represent, I can see the changes.
The Lib Dem candidate would reverse Sadiq Khan's partial fares freeze and give the money to the Met.
The Mayor has completely failed on sexual offences. They're capturing rapists and sexual offenders at half the rate as when he became Mayor, and that's because there aren't enough police dedicated to this. They're not being given the equipment they need and the support they need to do a good job here.
Gonsalves, whose crimes included burning his victim with a cigarette when she refused to have sex, will be sentenced in June. Simon Harris, ITV News.
And here on your screens is a list of the candidates standing to be Mayor of London. The election takes place on Thursday, May the 2nd.
Well, the issue of housing is likely to feature in tonight's mayoral hustings, where the main candidates will come face to face for the first time since the campaign for City Hall began. And with 3 weeks to go until Londoners elect their next mayor, the parties are stepping up their tactics to win your vote, including some controversial ads. Today, Labour defended an election poster which portrays the Conservative candidate for mayor as a pigeon. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
Labour's latest attack ad portrays Conservative candidate Susan Hall as a pigeon. Next to her, a flock of feathered friends with familiar faces, including Donald Trump, Liz Truss and Boris Johnson. The electronic poster, part of Sadiq Khan's campaign to be re-elected, was unveiled 3 weeks before polling day.
It's not personal, it's about choice. It's about choice. What do Londoners want?
Doesn't this come under the heading of negative campaigning?
It is about choice. It's about the choice that Londoners have on the 2nd of May.
Oh, it's just childish, isn't it? Considering he wants to be the mayor, I would take the mayoralty very, very seriously. If he wants to put out childish posts, that's really up to him.
A new opinion poll today gave Sadiq Khan a 13-point lead over Susan Hall, with the Greens' Zoe Garbett in 3rd place and the Lib Dems' Rob Blackie in 4th.
This lady is wonderful.
Oh, gosh.
Hall was meeting voters in Golders Green at the heart of London's Jewish community. It's not the first time she's been on the receiving end of hard-hitting campaign attacks from her opponent. This Labour website accuses her of hating London's diversity and being prejudiced against black Londoners. But the Conservatives haven't held back in their portrayal of London under Sadiq Khan.
Has the metropolis teetering on the brink of chaos?
At one point, they were forced to delete a video which used footage from New York.
I'm not sure there's an enormous amount of evidence that they shift a large number of votes, but they certainly make your own side, whichever that is, feel that, you know, their people are out there, they're attacking the other side. It hardens up your own vote. Whether it switches many votes, I sometimes doubt.
Both frontrunners have been criticised for failing to take up invitations to debate the election. At hustings organised by Age UK and Inclusion London, Garbett was the only candidate from the 4 main parties to appear.
Hustings are an essential part of the election process. I've managed to attend all 4 so far, and there are going to be circumstances when people aren't able to attend, but it really shouldn't be the norm.
I think there should be many more so that the public get a chance to see what people are standing for and for their arguments to be tested. And I think we've had failures in London government because there hasn't been enough scrutiny of what the mayor has been doing.
Tonight, all 4 candidates, including the mayor, are due on stage face-to-face for the first time. Simon Harris, ITV News, Golders Green.
And here's a list of the candidates standing to be Mayor of London on your screens now. The election takes place on Thursday, May the 2nd.